It made me cry.
This one's wife. No wonder you will end up broke. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Some of you may be familiar with the oft-quoted Mr. Micawber principle. His advice in Charles Dickens's David Copperfield was this: annual income £20, annual expenditure £19, 19 shillings and sixpence, result happiness. Annual income £20, annual expenditure £20 and 6, result misery, i.e., live within your means, you'll be happy. If you don't, you will be miserable. And it's a lesson that clearly the Sussexes would do well to heed because of the excessive expenditure of this one's wife and Harry, occasioned by certain entitlements and, of course, driven by her somatic narcissism, which I've explained to you previously, along with the fact that she believes that she should just receive a particular level of income because it's her, without actually having to do anything for it. The problem that she has is that while she earned reasonably well as an actress on Suits, she wants more. And she has become accustomed to more. Expensive clothing, expensive jewellery, living in an expensive house with a substantial mortgage, and of course running such a house has various expenditures. It's all very well when you're able to secure a deal with Netflix and Spotify, but it then becomes problematic when they no longer want to work with you and nobody else is offering you an open checkbook because people realise that you don't have any talent, you're toxic, difficult to work with, and indeed are likely to taint whatever organisation it is by virtue of partnering with her. Thus, the options for income have been dropping off whilst the level of expenditure has remained high. And it's little wonder that this pair of abject losers have such levels of expenditure as a consequence of a piece of information that has been revealed by the super soaraway Sun. They've delved into the archives, but it gives us quite a useful insight as to the mindset of these two morons and why they will end up most likely broke. Prince Harry may have left behind royal palaces, but he now lives in a swanky £12 million pad with this one's wife that comes with some rather large costs. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex splashed out their Montecito mansion in 2020, and at the time they were informed that there was one drawback with the property. The problem was that the 9-bedroom home already had some very particular residents who called it home. Who was this? Did they have some squatters? Was it the case that Oprah was using it as a bolt hole? No. It was the koi carp in the pond. Writing in his memoir Spare, Prince Harry wrote, "We found a place, priced at a steep discount, just up the coast, outside Santa Barbara. Lots of room, large gardens, a climbing frame," which of course is going to be important for Harry, "even a pond with koi carp. The koi were stressed," the estate agent warned. "So are we. We'll all get along famously." "No," the agent explained. "The koi need very particular care." In other words, he'd seen these two coming. "Oh, right, a British prince and his floozy. Brilliant. Here's an opportunity to milk these dimwits." The Duke of Sussex revealed he was informed that he would have to hire a koi guy. Yeah, right. For the stressed fish, and he had inquired as to where to find a specialist. He continued, "The agent wasn't sure. We laughed. First world problems." According to Aquatic Veterinary Services, a mobile veterinary practice taking care of pet fish in California, a fish examination can cost $300. Talk about coining it. I'll have a look at your fish. Yes, definitely a fish. It's in water. It's going with its mouth, and it's got fins and a tail. I definitely say you have a fish. That'll be $300, please. Oh, yeah, no problem whatsoever. Actually, there's some more fish. Could you check on them? It'll be my pleasure, Mr. Harry. Apparently, that's the initial service fee, plus mileage costs, and then it's $25 per fish. Talk about shooting fish in a barrel. Yep, so you've got that fish there, and I can see another fish over there, and there's a fish, and there's another fish. Yes, there's got a fish there, there's a fish lurking there. That's another fish, that's another fish. That'll be $200, please. Oh, right, yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for pointing out that I've got some fish. Apparently, following diagnostics, further blood work or ultrasound tests can be recommended by veterinary staff at extra cost, of course, plus any treatment needed. Thus, fish costs. So, Harry and this one's wife, being the pair of dimwits with too much money, hire somebody to come along and look after the koi carp because they are stressed. Fish don't get stressed. What a load of fucking nonsense. But of course, there's one born every minute, and it's with that kind of approach to fiscal matters that it's little wonder that these two have ended themselves up in a position whereby it's repeatedly rumoured that they're on their uppers financially, notwithstanding the recent inheritance that Harry obtained, which will soon be burned through. Now, I actually managed to get hold of a list of the outgoings that take place at the Montecito household. And of course, you have the usual things that you would expect for a pair of grandiose individuals with a house of that size, a cook, a nanny, gardeners, security, etc. So that's all par of the course. But it is demonstrative of the idiocy of Harry and this one's wife, the fact that he's a dimwit and she's driven by her somatic greed, that they have a range of individuals on the payroll which are clearly burning through their money, and you'd really have to question why. For instance, there's an executive foliage numerator, which in other words is somebody who counts the leaves on the trees. There's a water slide tester, presumably appointed by Harry. There's a jam vibe consultant, evidently someone recruited by this one's wife, and they haven't got very far at all there. There's an odour judge. Now, I'm not sure whether that person is utilised in the 27,000 toilets that they have, or whether it's utilised because Harry keeps letting them go. They have a Scotch mist catcher. That individual must be on a nice, easy pay. There's a paper towel sniffer. No, me neither. They have a Montecito ambience advisor. That's clearly this one's wife who wants to ensure the correct ambience where candles are lit by unseen hands and she makes guttural, visceral noises. There isn't a stylist on this list, I can tell you that much. There's also a panda fluffer, despite the fact that there are no pandas at Montecito. They have recruited a social media response spritzer, which I understand is that when Madam is rage scrolling, somebody comes along and spritzes water which has been scented into her face in a bid to calm her down. There's a tit farter, that must purely be somebody recruited by Harry, a rose petal distributor to walk in front of this one's wife, a dream interpreter, a stool monk. I wondered if that was a bald-headed man dressed in orange who would sit on a stool silently, but apparently it's a Tibetan monk who blesses this one's wife's stools after she's pinched a loaf. Fascinating. And finally, there is a colour me beige consultant, which makes a lot of sense. That payroll, of course, is going to be extensive, and it's demonstrative of the fact that this one's wife thinks that she should get money for nothing and will spend it like it's going out of fashion. And if you can convince somebody, like the Sussexes, to hire a consultant to look after koi carp, it's little wonder that they'll soon be broke. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.